Hi guys, Matthew from Fidelity here. Today we're taking a look at Hifiman's new flagship IEM offering, the Svanar. So to clear up one thing before we proceed, I'm a little bit sick, so my voice may sound a bit different, and yeah, if I sound weird throughout the video, at least you're gonna know why. So, quick facts about the Svanar. We're dealing here with a $2,000 IEM with a single dynamic driver. Very interesting and a whole different kind of product. Let's jump straight into it. The unboxing experience, of course, as you can probably see, it's very luxurious. You know, it's a one-time thing because you don't unbox the IEM numerous times, but the experience is pretty nice nevertheless. The IEMs themselves come in a metal hockey pack looking container. It's very sturdy, it doesn't open by itself, so you can easily just toss the IEMs wherever you want and they're not gonna get damaged as long as they're inside the pack. Apart from that, we get our cable, some tips, some paperwork, the usual stuff. Moving on to comfort. This is advertised as an IEM that is supposed to kind of get as close to a custom in-ear monitor as possible, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. It is a very comfortable IEM, however, in a prolonged listening session, sometimes it would kind of squeeze against this anti-helix part of my ear right there, and after some time it got a little bit painful. It may as well be an isolated case and it may be different for everyone, so you'll just have to check for yourself if it's good or not. The insertion on this IEM is quite shallow, so bear that in mind as well and adjust your tips accordingly. Alright, let's get into the sound because this is just delightful, and let's start with the bass. The bass is quite punchy. It's not the most punchy bass you're gonna ever hear, however it is very tactile, it is very physical, it can definitely be just felt. Apart from that, it's very technical, very controlled. If you have double kick drums on a heavy metal track, you don't have to worry about this overall noise around your head. It's all very well done, very well controlled. It's also a pretty strong response. Everything is quite tactile. Even the vocals that kind of go pretty low can benefit from that. The bass is very well extended. It goes down deep and the rumble, the punch, basically any technical facet of bass is overall very good. Onto the mid-range, and I think this is the focal point of this IEM, because the mid-range has this little bit of warmth to itself, however not too much, and this little bit of warmth doesn't sacrifice the technical performance of the IEM, which is great in my opinion. It's like the Goldilocks zone of how a mid-range should be done. A friend of mine recommended me to try the track Bongo Bong by Manu Chao. Of course it's a classic, and I thought, of course, it's worth giving it a try, and yes, my friend was right. All the instruments there, the vocals and those sample tracks that you may hear all throughout the music are so well presented, they're so clean, and they're positioned very well. They all have this engaging quality to them, this little bit of fun factor, but still it's all very clear. There's a lot of information being pushed through. It's fun and it's emotional and it's what I need. Let's move on to the treble, because the treble is quite interesting here as well. Despite the overall warmth of the earphone, the treble is not sacrificed there at all. It still has this little bit of sparkle to it. It pushes tons of detail without being sibilant at all. You would be hard pressed to find someone that could find any sibilance in it, or who is so sensitive to treble that it would be too much for him. I think, yet again, this is a perfect balance here. Lots of detail, lots of information, sparkle, which means engagement and fun, while also being smooth, being pleasant, and overall, I have to say, any kind of prolonged listening session with those has been very, very pleasant. If you would like to read more about the technologies used, Paweł's opinions on the sound, check out the link in the description. The written review is already there, so I encourage you to read it for more information. Now I'd like to move on and discuss the overall tonality of this earphone, which is pretty interesting. Overall, we have this a little bit warmer picture, however, there is still a little bit of brightness, enough brightness to be revealing but not to be painful or sibilant. And to me, this is the perfect mix, because I love having the engagement factor, the fun factor, while not having to sacrifice any detail, any, sound staging capabilities. Live performances, again, are great. I loved listening to Genesis live on those. It's been very engaging, very pleasant. Live performances really squeeze out the best from those IEMs, and I think that's also why I enjoy them so much. Now let's move on to technical performance. I've already mentioned soundstage. It's quite large, there's a lot of air and three-dimensionality, which is great because I really hate this kind of flat soundstage, and here you can really discern what's closer, what's far away, and everything is just very precise. Which leads me to talk about the imaging. I kind of already spoke about that, but the imaging is, as I've said, precise. You can really feel what's where. It's accompanied by the soundstage very well, because none of those two capabilities are bottlenecking each other. What I also love about the imaging capabilities is that those are not just small points in the soundstage. They're actually quite large. They are of pretty good size, which makes the overall presentation very realistic. The dynamics, especially the dynamics of the lower end, are basically flawless. The punch, the decay, it's all there. It's all very technical, very well controlled. However, the rumble of certain vocals, certain instruments is also very present, very physical, very tangible. So the overall presentation of this kind of tonality with nearly flawless technical performance, I'd like to paint a picture here. I've listened to Eternal Sunshine by J Electronica. It's a pretty long track, and apart from like the rapping parts, there are also kind of pieces of sounds from movies, some quotes, and overall it's so different throughout the whole presentation. It almost feels like a movie. Your mind just paints the picture for you, and I think it's just beautiful. The natural presentation combined with the technical capabilities makes for a really natural and immersive listening experience, which I think is beautiful. So overall, I think this is a great IEM, and Hifiman have really knocked it out of the park there. I think it contends with IEMs even a few $1,000s more expensive than itself. I've mentioned in previous videos that it's not about the amount of drivers, it's about the implementation, and this is the perfect example of that statement being true, because I've heard many multi-driver IEMs in my life, and some of them can't really hold a candle to this one. Also, what might be a bit controversial for some of you, I consider this to be a bargain, because $2,000 for an IEM that plays like that, compared to some other offerings that we have currently on the market, and what we have that's, a bit higher up on the price ladder, it's just more than amazing price to performance ratio. And I think for that amount of money, it's gonna be really hard to find a better sounding IEM than the Svanar. So, as you can see, overall I am blown away by this IEM. No, I am not a Hifiman shill. They just happen to make good enough headphones and earphones for me to kind of fangirl for them. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this video informative. I hope you didn't mind that groggy voice from from the sickness. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one, and see you guys again. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.